flour milling in New Zealand. Garth, you had a bit to do with this. You were the instigator.
Well, it was part of the team and the committee, but yet definitely, and to get it off the ground and support the team as they work through this marvellous piece of work.
Why a book with the history of flour milling in New Zealand?
Well, our core reason was that we were going to lose our history. It's a long, aged milling industry. There's some really, really good people within that industry that are, well, I dare say, getting on in life. And we wanted to capture not only what they'd done, but the passion in the book. And you had to really do it while they were still here. And we wanted to have something written down for the future, that the good things we do, we don't repeat them and do bad things. So
you learn from your history.
We do, and without it documented, we wouldn't do that. And there's nothing really that's documented for the flour milling industry in New Zealand as today.
I mean, it goes right back to the very start, doesn't it? I mean, you had people growing wheat as soon as they arrived in New Zealand, and wooden stones to grind it. Yeah,
I mean, stone milling was the first introduction to milling flour, and wholemeal flour it was in those days. And then we've got the modern technology mills that we have today.
Which are all absolutely astounding. There's just millions of dollars tied up.
They are, we've seen, as you would read in the book, is through the stages. We've had a deregulation period where we had many mills sitting at close farm locations throughout the whole of New Zealand, and then as competitiveness hit New Zealand, we had to rationalise the industry, and now we've probably got a handful, 6 flour mills operating in New Zealand alone, where there might have been 30 or 40.
Including a very new one down in Timaru, the Farmers Mill. That's an interesting concept, Garth.
Yes, I mean, as long as I've been in the industry for 45 years, and it's cyclical, and we've seen mills come and go, and we just see another cycle happening, and it's interesting, and I think it's good for the industry too.
Now, as far as the history is concerned, I mean, it's been a bit interesting. The deregulation in '87.
Yeah, so I think the key thing here, differently from globally, in deregulation in 1987, the government decided to deregulate the grain industry and the flour industry. And if we look around the globe, that is done separately. It's either been the wheat industry or the flour industry at separate times. So for New Zealand, it was an extremely big challenge. But I think we stepped up to the mark, and New Zealand did really well, and that's why we're still here today. But I think this book, getting back to the book, we wanted to document how we managed that, how we handled it, so we're going to be in good shape for this industry to be here for a long time yet.
Yeah, well, we're always going to be eating bread, and of course there's a whole lot of new ones.
Yeah.
You've got the farmers saying that they never get paid enough, and you've got your millers saying they're being paid far too much, and it's never the twain.
Oh, but it never is, and it's so exciting, and even to this day we see that change rapidly, and people ask me as a miller, and I put my miller's hat on, what's your biggest opposition? And today the answer is the dairy industry, and that is something.
Why is that? Because of the land?
The land, and dairy cows eat wheat. So now there's a lot more wheat growing in New Zealand for dairy production or milk production than there is for flour milling. So that is our opposition, and we have had to learn how to fit into that crop, that challenge, and how we find our place. So it's ever evolving, and it's been really, really great.
Speaking of evolving, I mean, in the early days of the book, which is absolutely fabulous, and every cropping farmer should have one.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. But you're talking about the Hilgendorfs and all those sort of Ataris and all the basic stuff. Now, if you go into a supermarket, there's 15 different types of bread. Then there's biscuits. So you've got a niche instead of commodity.
Well, that's right. I mean, that's our survival. From the day 1987, I remember it quite well.
I bet you do.
And sitting there and going, how are we going to survive in this new market? We had 2 flours in those days. There was a white flour and a wholemeal flour. Yep. That was it. And as you say, today we've got 30 flours that we produce. 30 flours, servicing all types of markets. But today we've even got flours now that go into products that are exported to Japan and all around the world. So we've had to develop these products, and we're still developing products today to keep us globally competitive. And that's our niche. We've got to be not a commodity producer as such. We've got to bring quality, unique flours that people can turn into value-add products to sell around the world.
Because you're doing the same sort of thing as malting, aren't you? Because you've got so many different malts now with the different beers.
Yeah.
So it really is exciting. How does somebody like you, who's been around for 45 years, sort of quietly handle all that?
Well, I mean, every day is a new challenge. You get out of bed and there's always something different to do. Some people ask me, how could you ever be in the same job or the same industry for so long? Every day is exciting. And belonging to New Zealand Flour Millers Research Trust, being part of writing this history, but also looking after our survival through the introduction of breeding programs, and that's a lot of our base work is done. Helping the farmers breed new cultivars that are going to be here for the future, yield well and keep the farmers growing wheat in New Zealand and be competitive on the global market.
Do we stir in the subject of Australian wheat coming in or not?
I mean, Australian wheat, I mean, we're a global country, you know. We've got to face up to the fact that if we've got to be as good or equal to, because Australia's on our back door, and yes, that wheat is available. We've just got to be better. And
so the South Island is seen by the South Islanders as the main wheat industry, but North Island had it as well?
Yeah, they did, and I think they found that there was finding their niche where their profit basis, best return on their land goes, and so South Island lent itself to cropping, high yields, less risk, low risk, and why most of the wheat now is in Canterbury, North Canterbury.
So have you got mills in the North Island?
We've got mills in the North Island.
So that they would sort of do more of the imported stuff.
They do use imported wheat.
You send wheat. You send your flour up there.
Yeah, and we send wheat from Canterbury into our North Island mills for specific reasons and specific grades of flour that we produce for.
So we are good friends up there still.
Oh yes, yes we are, and it's important that we stay that way.
So the future, really, of the wheat industry, it's in good heart.
Of course it is, and yes it is. Probably there's more opportunity than there ever has been before. It's just being very positive and making sure we get our groundwork right and we don't repeat the bad things that we've done.
Very briefly, the book, where do we find it?
So at the moment it's through the website of the New Zealand Flour Millers Association, and they will guide you to where you can purchase it. Yeah.
Sounds great. Thank you, and congratulations on that.